All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Hold My Protein. Watch this. Here we've got Adam Gray, coach extraordinaire, especially in coaching a busy woman and helping them just be fit and awesome. So, Adam, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you became a health and fitness coach?
Yeah, so I originally I played sports growing up, three, four sports a year. So going into college, I actually kind of got caught between looking for something sports related. I ended up in sports management. Found I really didn't like the business side of things. So after like literally one semester, flipped over to sports medicine. Um, Ended up graduating with a degree in exercise physiology. From there, my CSCS, and pretty much right out of school, I did an internship at Seacoast Orthopedic and Sports Medicine for a
Okay.
little bit. That was where I got like my first taste actually working with rehab people, with clients, with just like athletes in general. Before getting my full-time job that I started from 2014 working at a an all in-person gym, class-based functional training sort of gym in Concord, which is where I was until 2022 when I left to take my online training full-time.
Awesome. What were some sports that you did that you really liked?
So I've played soccer my entire life, which I always surprises people. I'm a pretty big dude, and they always assume I played football, but I played hockey, so I guess I kind of balanced
You
it
did
out.
football. We just don't know what to call it in the United States.
It's
Oh,
football
well,
somewhere.
that's a great point. Actually, maybe that's how I phrase it from now
I
on.
think you should.
Yeah, you're right. I did play football.
You're right. It is football.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's just you weird Americans call it soccer.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's just like right up top. Yep. Looking down. Yeah. No, I played soccer, baseball, hockey. My senior year of college, senior year of high school, I played lacrosse because I just didn't want to play baseball that year, and it gave me another opportunity to hit people after hockey. So I just naturally went to lacrosse. It's pretty close to hockey relatively. So
Running into people is fun.
yeah, right.
I wish there was more contact sport in CrossFit.
Yeah, I've never
That would
really
bring it to a whole new
Uh,
level.
Whole new level.
Like
yeah.
5 snatches, Fight Club, 30 like 30 like a mix of like jujitsu and
Yeah.
CrossFit.
Oh yeah.
Like 5 snatches, like 1
Free
minute,
throws.
1 minute round.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you might have just invented
Yeah,
the new
cross-fight.
UFC crossfight.
Yes,
Crossfight.
crossfire.
Trademark
Do I
that.
get to still call it ground and pound when they like get them on the ground and it's all weird and they're wallering all over?
Oh yeah,
each
you
other?
call it the ground and pound.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Our work here is done.
Right?
Podcast is over. Thanks for listening, everyone. Tune back in next week for some ground and pound.
Oh goodness. Where's the penis? Is it in the
Oh, the penis is behind it.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to hold it or something?
You
Is
know,
that
you
what-
don't have to.
Oh, okay.
No,
It's like,
I
do the
just-
guests have to hold the?
No, guests don't have to hold the little organ stuffies, but I was just thinking we're talking about ground and pound and it just escalated to a whole new level and I wanted to make sure that the penis at least got a shout out. on
It's
the
funny.
podcast.
I was gonna make a joke about don't Google that, but I held back. But I'm glad to know that like
You were
I could have been totally fine
Yeah.
just making that
You
joke.
were the
All
same
right.
Know
place.
that we've had a single episode where the penis did not make
Yeah, he does. He
at
makes an
some
appearance.
point of time.
I think on Spotify I did have to state that we were explicit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
That's
we are,
fair.
we
yeah,
are
it's
Yeah.
explicit.
yeah. This is not suitable for in the car with your
Yeah,
children.
if your kids are in the car holders or something.
Earmuffs.
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 God, related to kids, how did you become kind of the fitness coach for busy women?
You know, wow, talking English, great.
Words
If
are
we had
hard,
had this,
okay.
they are. If we had had this conversation like maybe 6 months ago, I don't know that I would have had a great answer.
Mhm.
I wish that I had like a really cool story. I wish I did. Like I wish that, I could be, there I was, trapped under a burning car. Group of men watching from the sideline. One woman steps forward, lifts the car off me, and at that point, I decided I was going to dedicate my entire life to. I wish I had a cool story like that. The truth is that I think what I've kind of realized, because I used to get that question a lot, and I never had a really good answer, until it just kind of came to me, I don't know, a couple months ago. The thing that I had, because very obviously, I am not a busy mom. I don't know. You guys just like
Wouldn't
met me
know.
recently, but so like, why then is that the people that I tend to connect with, that I tend to be a great fit for? And what I kind of found is that I was the very much the type of like self-sacrificer person that would always like when I worked at the gym was like, you're sick, that's all right, I'll coach for you. Oh, you can't make it in, I'll coach for you. You're going through something, don't worry, stay home, take care of that. I'll step in for you. I'll fix that. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do. And throughout my entire life, that was the person I was. Not really realizing it until like now. And I think that's what's made me such a good fit is because all my clients, are, I mean, moms, there's already enough responsibility there. There's enough needing to do things there. But, a lot of them are nurses. So when they leave, like all their responsibility as mom, they just go to work where they have responsibilities of taking care of other people. Or, I have a client who, on top of her own business, volunteers as part of the PTA, as part of her school board, so because in the area where kids go to school,
Yeah.
it's just like it's always service of someone else. And I think that's been the reason that there's just always a really good connection point. My clients, one of the consistent things I tend to get back is they never feel like judged or like they feel like I'm not like trying to force them to do something that they can't literally aren't able to do or feel like that I'm telling them that well, you should be doing this. Why aren't you doing this? There's always like a really good line of communication. I never feel like I'm forcing them in.
I love that that's how this came about because I am a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm an athlete. I also am married and my husband like needs me too. And it's not that men in general are necessarily needy, but it was two people first. And then you have these small humans that you decide would be a good idea to bring into the world, which it is. Like I love my son, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but holy crap, it's a lot. And especially for people who are in I'll say like a serving industry, like nursing, us as PTs, you as a trainer. What does your wife do?
So she works for the public health lab.
Okay.
But she also has a second job. She does vet teching.
Okay, so
But-
she's caring.
Oh
and
yeah,
her-
no, she
right, right.
yes, she very much exemplifies that role as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So you've got all of these people who are in these like serving, caring, giving roles, and then they have to go home and do the same thing, not just to their children or their dogs, but also their husband or wife. And I don't know about you guys, but at the end of the day, there are nights that I lay down on my pillow and I'm like, what about me? And I used to say that my training each day was my self-care.
Yeah.
So I'm curious in terms of like with this being your primary client population and kind of how you are, what are your thoughts on exercise as self-care and what should self-care really be?
So in my opinion, there needs to be a bit of both. I think the thought process of that, like my time at the gym is my only time of self-care is I don't know how like highly restrict, I can't think of the way I want to put this, but it's not what it's supposed to be, for lack of a much more eloquent way of describing that.
Yeah.
I'm a fitness coach, I'm not an English major. But
Same.
but I definitely think that has become this like thing where it's like, it's gone from the fact that and I want everybody hear me as speaking through my client's eyes, not as a man speaking at or in service of, I don't know how you want to put it, but like with a lot of my clients, they have now been starting to be conditioned to believe, because before it was like, well, your health is last.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have to do X, Y, and Z, and if there's time for you to make it to the gym or whatever, then great. Or you should be getting up 2 hours earlier to make time for the gym before you have to get your kids off to school and then get to your full-time career and so on and so forth. And now it's become more like, well, that's your self-care time. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you don't get to like go home, hang out and read or whatever, or just have some time alone. It's like, no, your self-care time is at the gym. So like, that's when you should be taking it. So I do have conversations with my clients sometimes because that it'll come up like, oh, I'm trying to get to the gym and like, okay, well, when you're not at the gym and you're not at work, like, what other types of thing do you do? Well, not really anything. Or it comes out in other places. It's like that tends to be the client too, who like, how's your sleep been? Well, I've only been getting like 5 or 6 hours because by the time I get home, kids have dinner, I get my stuff done, cleaned up. I just don't want to go to bed, and they're the ones that'll end up like binge watching on Netflix for a couple hours because they want that.
They need that time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So a lot of the times those are the clients like, okay, you've been trying to get to the gym. It takes an hour and a half total out of your day when you work in like the driving, the showering, the whatever. Let's make that a little bit shorter and take some of that time and like get up. You're up before everybody anyways. Take a half hour of that and like, I don't care. You want to sit at the table and drink coffee and do a puzzle, do that. If you're, I've not that often that I run into people that are like really focused on like meditating or something like that. But if there's something that is meditative, do that for half an hour. Like, because everything else is go.
Yeah.
Like it's like workout is still gas pedal. It's not brake. So it's a fine line, but I definitely believe that there needs to be both.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
There's so I do some of what I do with our clients is like I don't like to say trauma therapy because I'm not a psychotherapist.
Right.
But I am like certified in working with people who have trauma and do a lot of like, we'll say like nervous system kind of integration. And what I think people forget, and I love that you said that exercise is still the gas pedal and it's not the brake, because our society has conditioned all of us to be go, go, go all the time. And if you let off, you're being lazy or complacent or, whatever. But then I think during COVID, there was this big switch in like, oh, now everybody's home and you're not doing anything and things are slower. So make time to take care of yourself. So, we're all stuck at home. I feel a little bit less guilty about sitting in the bathtub because I can't leave my house. So what else am I going to do with my time? But then I think once we all kind of went back to reality, that time that was supposed to be self-care really wasn't, because everybody was still so like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
So you never let off that gas. And the way our nervous system is supposed to work is that there are natural ebbs and flows. So you have a stimulus, whatever that stimulus is. Is there a saber-toothed tiger coming into my den that's going to maul my family? Is it a workout that Adam has programmed for me? Is it my boss who's on my ass about, whatever I have to do? Like those are all stimuli that are going to spike you up. Right. And then once you get through the thing, whatever it is, and you realize, oh, cool, I'm not going to die. I'm good. Family's okay. Everybody's fine. You're supposed to drop back down into baseline. But then you're also supposed to be able to go even lower than baseline, which is that restorative, total break. And people what I've noticed is that people either stay high or they stay low. And they really struggle to ride that kind of wave of what the nervous system should do on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually had a conversation with a client fairly recently, and it was a situation where it's like, sometimes I think I need to like write things down right after I say it, because sometimes I think about the best way to say something and it comes out. And that's the only time I'll ever say it like that. And I'll mess it up every time. Every single time. So, and I was talking with her because she was having a really tough time because she just like had so many things that she like had to do. And it's funny to me when you think about it, and I'm this way too. Like if I turn to you and I say, Megan, I need you to get up an hour earlier in order to get your workout in, so that way when you get home you have blah blah blah. Does that like you don't want to hear it, but
That's gross.
But yeah, it sounds like it's gonna stuck, but like it doesn't really.
I'd be waking up at 4 a.m.
Right, you would be annoyed as hell with me. But now if I said like, Megan, I need you to find 2 hours in your day to just relax,
I would actually be more annoyed by that because I don't have that 2 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. So like I feel like a lot of my client, like it's what scares them is not scare is a strong word, but
Yeah.
give me some leeway here. What scares them is not having to do more.
Yeah.
What scares them is when I tell them to do less.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think we see a lot of that
Mhm.
here too. I feel like as PTs who do like really specialize in treating active adults, we get a lot of the active adult that is go, 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 go until they get injured.
Mhm.
And then when you have to explain to them, like, in order to get back from this injury, you don't have to take a break from the gym, but we do need to like tone down and like shift certain things that we have to do. They get really scared that like all their progress is going to go right away. Like the world will end, all their friends will hate them, their mom will call them ugly. And like it's really hard for a lot of people to think like I can do less and I will still be okay.
And I don't know if this is a gender thing. I mean, you guys can tell me more than I feel like I deal with it more with women, but I also work with women more, so it's
Yeah.
hard to tell. But I feel like, and this actually came up with my wife fairly recently, getting back into just like some basic lifting and some things. She had a hard time getting herself to go to the gym because if she wasn't making progress, she felt like, well, what's the point of me being here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I could be doing this, I could be doing this, I have this on my plate, I have this on the list, I could be getting this done, this done, this done, this done, this done, but I'm here. What's the point of me being here if I'm not, depending on the person, I'm not noticing that my lifts are getting stronger, that I'm going up in weight. I'm not noticing that I'm losing body fat. I'm not noticing that I'm losing weight. Whatever their version of progress is, then why am I even here when I could be doing 50 other things?
I don't know that I would say that's a gender. I think there are some gender tendencies with that. My husband, God, I'm gonna have to just send him this and be like, baby, you need to listen to this. So
Okay, good. So I didn't say
he,
anything stupid yet.
no, no,
All right.
and I actually, I'd like, this would actually be a really great conversation for him to be a part of too, because, so maybe we'll have to do a part two.
Cool. I'm down.
He is the quintessential, like, I am, and it's not toxic masculinity, because the way that I'm going to say it sounds that way, but like, I'm a man. I am a protector, defender, provider. Like, that is my job. I love my wife. I love my kids. Like, this is what is most dear to me. And I remember he spent, right after we got married, he spent a lot of time trying to come up with like his own personal mission statement.
Mhm.
And really kind of trying to find his purpose, which I think everyone should do individually, because it like just kind of keeps you like, what's my north, And his mission statement was that his purpose was to serve his family. Now, that's very noble and very wonderful. It gets mucked up because he also is in the military and he has a full-time job and he likes to exercise and he's a real estate agent. And, we have kids who live in Arizona who are older that he wants to maintain a relationship with. And then we have a 6-year-old. And then, I come to him and I'm like, hey, me and my BFF are going to start this business and I like need you to be okay with it. And so he is very much like what you're describing, where the list of things to take care of is so long. He actually texted me, I think it was on Tuesday, and he was like, it's 4:15. Our son needs to be picked up by 5:30. I'm still sitting at my fucking desk. I've tried to get up 3 times to go exercise, and something has kept pulling me back. And my first thought is, all that shit can wait. Go work out. But I also like I've trained myself to be that way, and it took a really long time for me to do that. He can't do it.
Yeah.
And so for people like that, how do you help, not just men, like men and women, how do you help them like look at their day? And I think it's less about like, where can you fit this in? How do you help them shift to how do I prioritize myself so that I can show up for the people I love?
Yeah. So luckily, or unluckily, I guess, however you want to put it, is I had a very similar, like, because that's how I used to be, is, well, especially when I was working in person. It was like, I have this block of time in between classes to get my own training in, and then I got to go right back to it. And as I like got a little bit further into that job and my responsibilities got a little bit more, or I had a little bit more responsibility, it would be like I'd be halfway through my training, and I'd get like an email from a client. So I'd go, and then after a while it was like, well, I don't have time to go work out. And then it got to, well, I can't work out as hard as I wanted to, or I got injured, so then I couldn't work as hard as I wanted to. So I was like, well, what's the point of me even working out? I could be doing X, Y, and Z. So it took me a few years to realize that like I had to break that cycle of like, I'm here, this is my time, and this is what I'm focusing on, and then to be okay with it. Um, so one of the lucky things, depending on how you want to look at it, is I went through that kind of myself. So some of the things that helped me is, one, I had to just keep telling myself like it's okay for me to take time for myself. The second was that I had to be okay on the days where I couldn't do it like all out 100% intensity. And like if I go to the gym, I never used to understand how people go to the gym and just like relax. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something that over the last like few months, I've, when things were really stressful, it's like I did the same freaking workout. I mean, like the same Monday, the same Wednesday, the same, not literally the same
Yeah.
one, but I did the same weekly for probably 2 months at one point, because I'm like, I just need to go. It needs to be easy. I'll increase the weights. I'll do something a little bit different. I'll maybe decrease the rest a little bit. I'll make it different somehow just because I know how to do that. But the act of going and being in that space and in the moment and telling myself over and over again, it's okay to do this. It's okay to do this. Great. I'm not getting fantastic results. It's okay to do this. That mixed in with what I try to do with a lot of my clients that are really struggling with that is working on the motivation, but from a different standpoint than like what they're going to specifically get out of it. So I like to talk with my clients a lot about like intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, because a lot of people, and I was one of these people too. Intrinsic, what's your intrinsic motive? Well, that's my why. That's why it's important to me. And extrinsic is like, what society tells me I should. The real definition of intrinsic is it's something you do just because you enjoy doing it. It's the person that that you probably on some level are envious of, who just loves to go out and hike a 4,000 footer on a Saturday because they just love to do it. They're not doing it because they need more steps or they need more exercise. They should get outside more. They just wake up and they want to go hiking.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that is like, okay, so you went to the gym today. Great. You like extrinsic, you feel like you got a good workout in, overall you've lost 10 pounds, your deadlift went up 25 pounds this month. Okay. Tell me something positive about how you feel it has nothing to do about that. What about the workout did you enjoy? Like, what about your walk did you enjoy that has nothing to do with any of that outside crap? Did you talk to a friend for 20 minutes and like that made it worth it? Did you just enjoy being outside? Like, tell me something that has nothing to do with some sort of reason you have to do it, a reason that you just liked being there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's where community becomes so important. Like
Mhm.
we own a business. We are closed pretty much from 10 to 12 every day so we can work out. And our coach, if he knew that, would probably shit a brick, because he'd be like, that is 20 man hours a week that you have blocked out for working out. And there are times where Megan will be like, we're busy, do we need to do this? And I'll be like, no, this is our time, or like the other way around. And I think because we're both on the same page as that, like it is kind of a no-brainer that like this is our time that we work out. And this is, even if maybe I don't want to do my workout, like I like hanging out with Megan, so it's fun. And I think that's where things like having a trainer or a workout buddy or a class that you go to, or maybe you don't like the workout, but it's fun to see your friend, or it's fun to do that, and like trying to find something that makes it, that's not the workout itself, that makes it intrinsically motivating for you.
I agree with that 100%. I think that you know, when we decided to do that, it felt a little
dumb.
but also felt a little like spoiled brat.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, to be fair, we're both only children and probably spoiled.
We probably are spoiled
Yeah,
brats, but
yeah, we are.
on a separate
On a
note.
separate, that's
Right.
another podcast. But I think what we realized is that like our intrinsic motivation for exercise is, you know, is probably different, you know, but is really related to the fun that we have actually doing it, because we do think it's fun. We get to hang out with each other. You know, before we met, and you know, I've been in CrossFit for a long time, I would get excited about going to the gym to see my friends. When I was training with my old training partners in Phoenix, like I was excited to hang out with them.
Yep.
So like and it was a lot more time than 2 hours, like, you know, the 3.5 or 4 hours that I would spend there, and I'd walk away and be like, what did I get out of today? Well, I got, you know, camaraderie with my friends and problem solving and, you know, things like, and I, you know, got a good workout and maybe learned a new skill. Before I started competing, it was the same thing though, because I'd been in CrossFit. I'd gone from like Globo Gym to CrossFit. And CrossFit does community so well. Like that's what sets them apart from literally any other type of exercise, is the group of people. And I think that intrinsic motivation of having something about it that you enjoy ends up making it more consistent, because you're not like, okay, it's great to have the 6-pack. It's great for my butt to be perkier. Like still, I really need someone to figure out what exercise makes women's boobs higher after they breastfeed, but I think that's just gravity.
I don't know. That's not my specialty.
No, I can't figure out what it is, but you know, they're just sad little deflated things now, but they fed a human, so it's fine. But like once people figure that out, the rest of it kind of comes, and then it just becomes a habit.
Yeah, I think too, I haven't figured out the perfect way to phrase this, because I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to do it, like even talking to my clients, but it's like when I've had I don't know if it's just like been the time of year, I don't know. I've had clients that have had some really like serious personal stuff going on in their life recently. I mean, like all of us have it at some point. I just like for some reason recently it's been a big run of it. But and I can speak like from personal experience too. It's like when shit hits the fan, whether it's, you know, somebody in your family passed away, somebody's really sick, you're in a really bad place yourself, whatever that looks like, you know what doesn't get you to the gym? Worrying about your goddamn body fat or your weight or like adding another 10 pounds to your deadlift, or the fact that you're supposed to be there, or that it's going to make you feel better. You don't give a shit.
No.
You don't care.
None of that stuff matters.
None of that stuff matters. The only thing that'll get you there when that is a habit, once that's been built, but that takes time. And two, that it's just a place that you genuinely feel better.
Yeah.
Like you just walk in the door and you don't necessarily need a reason to feel better there. You do.
Just feel better.
Yeah.
In my trauma training, one of the questions when we start working with people on trauma that we ask is, when is the last time you felt the most like yourself? Which is, I think, a really hard question.
Yeah.
Because especially for people who, and I think really good exercisers are also master dissociators.
Yep.
We can turn it on pretty well.
Can confirm.
Yeah, can confirm. 10 out of 10 would not recommend.
Yeah.
But,
No, yeah.
That's made me a great athlete. But you know, what I realized as I started, because as you go through this training, you're effectively kind of working on yourself at the same time. You can't not do that. And I realized that I felt the most of myself when I could get into a gym. And so, case in point, my best friend's husband passed away the week before Thanksgiving. And he had just spent like the last year and a half completely changing his lifestyle. Like, got involved with this men's group, I think he lost like 75 pounds in 8 months, like went balls to the wall, just completely changed everything. And then sadly had a massive heart attack at 51. And the gym had become, aside from being with his kids and his wife, the gym was his favorite place to be. So I went out there and stayed with them for a week. And I was like, I need to go to the gym because this is really, really heavy. Like this, my best friend and I, we were laughing. We were like, we're supposed to be like 85 when this happens. Like, this is not supposed to happen now.
Right.
And, she was, it's her husband. So obviously she couldn't really do that. But that was how I dealt with what I was feeling, because I lost one of my best friends too. And the comfort, there were two things. One, I feel the most myself when I'm in the gym. And because it was his gym, the comfort that I felt going in there, I felt like closer to him. And then my motivation for exercise, I actually, like, one of the things that Tony used to say is don't be a bitch. And so I'm like deadlifting and I'm like, I don't have my belt, I don't have my shoes, I didn't bring any of my gear. And I literally hear Tony in my head and he's like, stop being a bitch. And I was like, okay, point taken. I'm just gonna like beltless deadlift here. And it was great. It was one of the best workouts I've ever had. So I think there's a lot to be said for like just walking in the door, which brings me to my question for you. Because I had this conversation with a client this morning who came in for the first time in a week and a half. How do you get them to walk in the door?
It's difficult because it's different for every person.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, it's for most people, it's finding the lowest barrier to entry, whatever that is for that person. And that usually just comes from like, okay, like talking through, take me through your day. All right, when you're getting ready to go to the gym, what comes up? Like what is it that maybe not what is it that stops you? I don't ask that specific question very often, but like take me through it. Like you woke up, you're planning on going to the gym at 7, you're waking up at 5:30, like that's your normal routine. What would normally happen? Up, and then I'd be at the gym. Okay, what's happening now? Well, I stay in bed for an extra half an hour because I don't want to get up. And then I get up and I'm exhausted and I don't want to have to put my stuff together. And then it's 10 minutes before I would have to leave and my clothes and my stuff isn't even packed and my lunch isn't prepped. And so then it's like, I usually am working my way backwards from there. It's like, okay, so we found a couple of things, assuming that there's no like we just talked about some deep stuff and like assuming there's no like trauma related reason, in which case I'm not like, well, let's just like prep everything the night before and you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Drive upstairs to your meal prep.
Right, exactly. So like for some of those people,
Don't be a bitch.
yeah, right, exactly.
That's for you, Tony. I love it. Oh, he's laughing. I can tell.
So for some of those people, it's like, okay, what's the thing that's like tripping you up? Okay, I'm not getting out of bed. All right. Maybe there's some other things going on there. Like, when are you going to bed? I'm going to bed at my normal time, but I get up and I just don't want to get out of bed. And for me personally, a lot of times that speaks to something bigger going on. Whether you want to talk to me about it or not, fine. I'm not forcing you, but if you're getting the same amount of sleep, you wake up in the morning and you just have no will to like get started, maybe something else going on there. But assuming that everything else is like normal, okay, like maybe you're going through, maybe it's seasonal, maybe it's whatever. So like start simple, like make your lunch the night before, or put it like in the lunchbox the night before, or lay out your gym clothes in the morning, pack your bag in the morning, whatever it is that you like. That like one little like that lowest hanging fruit thing that you can pluck and that's going to make the difference. It's part of the reason that I like working with clients over longer periods of time. I try to not do I don't do any like month to month anymore. Like, I may do it for people that have been with me for a long time, but for the most part I don't, because I want that time. If somebody needs to get that under control, that's not something we're going to figure out in 2 days.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't. It takes a lot longer than that. Yeah.
Right.
Have you read Atomic Habits?
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking of like habit stacking
Yeah.
as you were talking about that. So like the lowest barrier to entry, let's say it's making the sandwich the night before and putting it in your lunchbox.
Yep.
Okay. Do that for a week. Now, after you make your sandwich or whatever your, lunch meal prep is, and you put it in your lunchbox, now you're going to go to your dresser and you're going to lay out your gym clothes.
Yeah.
Do that for a week. And so then you start stacking those habits on top of each other. And then the next thing you know, in a month, before you go to bed, you've got your meal prepped, you've got your workout clothes laid out, you've got your clothes for work and your bag ready to go so you can shower. And then like it makes it that much easier, I think, for people.
Oh yeah.
Because then when your alarm goes off, all the reasons, like we're so good at talking ourselves out of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like all those reasons, well, I didn't make my lunch, I didn't lay my stuff out. Your excuses are not there anymore because you took care of all of them the night before.
Right.
I've had clients before who sleep in their workout clothes, which sounds really uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, I could.
I couldn't do that. But if that's what it took,
Yeah.
like they literally roll out of bed, put their shoes on, and get there.
Yeah.
Amen. Like if that's what helps you, then let's do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had clients who will leave their car keys on their treadmill in the basement so that they have to like go to the treadmill.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And I know when I was finishing my doctorate and like I was super stressed and my sleep was terrible and my nutrition was terrible and I had no friends and my gym was garbage, like in order to kind of get that habit, because like once you reach habit, like you are good.
Mhm.
But like I would just say, okay, like I have to get up at this time, I have to be at the gym at this time. And if once I get there and I warm up and I'm really like, fuck this, like I can then leave and go back to bed. But I at least need to make it to the gym and do my warm up before I give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I usually by the time you've done that, like you're fine.
Mhm.
And like it really is just getting in the door that is like the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like once you're there, you're good
You're
to
there,
go. Like
yeah.
you're gonna do something, which is way better than nothing. But like I think until you've understood that getting in the door truly is the hardest part, it seems impossible to do.
One last question.
Sure.
I'm curious about. What are your thoughts on reward systems?
What do you mean?
Well, so like I went to the gym 3 days this week, therefore I should buy myself a pair of shoes or like things like that, like as a motivational strategy for people who are either like having a hard time getting in the door or I'm sure you've had clients who are like, I don't really know what my goals are, I just know that the way I'm living is not healthy, and so like somebody has shoulded me into talking to you. Like how do you handle rewards and like helping clients realize that they can reward themselves, but then also don't be stupid with your reward. Like just because you burned 500 calories on the treadmill, A, the treadmill lied, and B, you did not earn that chocolate cake you think you did.
Yeah.
So a lot of I'll talk about the nutrition piece a little bit more so because I haven't really come up, I'll be honest with you, I haven't come across like that sort of like I made it to the gym 3 times, so I'm going to like go shop, whatever. But yeah.
That might just be me.
Maybe
No, it very well could be a normal thing. It just hasn't come up. The nutrition piece, the way that I personally work with people on that piece, I try to work with it more proactively by setting them up, because 99% of people, I could probably say 100% and probably not be far off from the actual percentage, come in and like, I know I need to eat less sugar. I know I can't have this. I know I can't have that. And a lot of it is just like reframing to like, no, I'm going to show you how you can have that.
Yeah.
So like trying to reverse that from I'm going to reward myself for exercising by having X, or I had X, so now I have to exercise to do Y.
Yeah.
It's just like making the exercise like pulling them apart. No, you don't need to exercise 3 times to have chocolate cake. But how about we have a slice of chocolate cake and we exercise versus exercising 3 times and then having an entire chocolate cake because you told yourself you couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't feel like it's a bad start for sure. That to me falls into that like motivation, like lighting the fuse sort of thing. But I tend to feel the goal should always be working towards not needing a reward in order to like I'm just gonna say it plainly, do the things that are going to make you live longer, live a better life. Um, if you want to say like if you're a competition person, if I hit X competition, I'm gonna buy myself some new gear, like cool, like you need that
Yeah.
extra little piece, or you do need something to like get you started. Like I don't see a problem with that. I think if you're always chasing that, if this is like your third year of January, if I hit 3 workouts every year, every week this month, I'm gonna like buy myself a new X, and then by March you've completely stopped again. Then we probably need to find a way to move past that
Yeah.
because you're relying way too much on reward and not enough on just building something that you should be doing.
Yeah, well, but I think you hit the nail on the head though. The reward is longevity. And that's what I think, like, that's the business that we're in with
Yeah.
our clients. Like, we both compete, and I don't know how long we'll do that, but for right now, like, that's the season we're in. But at the same time, I'm also like lifting and competing because I have a 6-year-old and he's friggin' fast. And I'm old. I'm 44, so I need to be able to keep up with him and not like blow out my knee in the process. So like there is some longevity, and to me that is the reward. So I think that's awesome. That's a really, I think, a great way to get people to kind of see that like the reward is in the thing itself.
Right.
And also, yes, you can still eat a piece of chocolate cake and not feel bad. Where can people find you?
So the best way to find me, I actually meant to ask you before, is it cool if we put like my like Instagram or
Oh,
Facebook
yeah, for
handle
sure.
in yeah, so
Totally.
Absolutely.
definitely clicking those. I mean, you're welcome to, you can email me, coach, coach_Adam@graymethod training.com. But best ways are definitely through my Instagram or from my Facebook. That's where I'll respond the quickest. That's where you'll see all kinds of stuff about me, learn more about me. So yeah, those are probably the two best places to go.
Awesome.
We'll put those in our notes, and then we'll also cross post everything too. So
Yeah.
cool.
I'll give you some little shout outs there.
I like it.
All right. I think that'll be it for today, but we'll have to do another one.
Yeah,
for
we
sure,
gotta do
because
another
I feel like we've got a lot to say about a lot of things.
For sure.
Definitely.
How many of your questions did we get through? 2?
We usually never make it through all of them, but
Yeah.
I feel like we've got them in case we need them, but like
Yeah.
we probably have better things to
It
talk
goes
about.
organically. It's nice.
Yeah,
It's
right?
good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for, I'm super, yeah, please, if you want more, I'd love to do it. I love
Yeah.
talking
We'll
about it.
find another time to do more. I feel like we had a good flow
Yeah.
and we've got a lot of the same